Good afternoon. I wanted to start out again and just compliment, our crowd and that atmosphere. I can't tell you what it means to have that as our home environment. It's why it means so much to us to still be having a chance to host some more games this year at US Bank. So just wanted to compliment not only our fans, but just once again everybody that goes in, everything that goes into hosting a game at our place. So prepared all year, kind of with a mindset that we're just going to keep on working towards the goal of winning a football game each week, and that's exactly where we found ourselves in Week 18 with a chance to win the division. So we've already gotten started on our preparation. Obviously, there'll be some more tape that comes in tonight, and then we'll prepare and go try to win a football game. Just injury updates-wise, did get some really positive news on Pat Jones today. He'll have a chance to even possibly make it this week. We'll see how he works through it, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. Fabian Monroe continues to do well, and he'll potentially work back in throughout the week, and we'll make an assessment of where he's at. And then Aaron Jones is doing well with that quad contusion and should not keep him from participating this week.
Kevin, you guys have been pretty healthy this year compared to a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Is that luck, or is that some kind of process that leads to better health?
We put a lot of time into, thinking about each week as its own, but also, myself, Tyler, Flo, some of Josh Hanks, we try to look at things in sequences. Hey, we had a trip to London. What's that look like, the week before? Then we have obviously the tight turnaround going to LA on a Thursday, bonus days here and there, great times to put the pads on and get physical with an extra day or two to prepare. So we just try to be smart, make sure we're tactically prepared is always the number one thing. But I also think as the season goes on, we've probably been a little bit more cognizant of the fundamentals and techniques being something, even on the days we slow the tempo down for bits and pieces of practice, we're still getting full speed fundamentals and individual periods to make sure we're still working through, how to play the game as much as the schemes and things for that week. I think it's been important, but I think it's a credit to Tyler, Josh, just our whole sports performance group, and our players, coming in on these Mondays and Tuesdays and taking advantage of the resources that we have that we're blessed to have here. It's all part of what we want these guys to have at their disposal to be at their best, and it's been a positive. But it always is. There is a certain level of chance and luck to it as well.
Has there been any common trends to these last few games against the Lions? Since you got here, you guys got them in that first game in 2022, but since then they've gotten you guys. Is there any common trends that you can think of that have sort of popped up in those games?
Yeah, you can look at some of the big things like turnovers. I think have been critical. Turnovers, and then ultimately, when you play a team that is so they're a complete team. They play well in all three phases. Dan has those guys absolutely ready to. They play physical brand of football. They're going to compete. They're very well coached across the board with AG and Ben. And special teams for that matter. So I think it's just any self-inflicted things you do against good football teams. It's going to be hard to win, and we've had chances to win games against those guys. We haven't always been at our full, capacity, whether it's, TJ or quarterback or, whatever it's looked like at the skill positions or on defense. So being relatively healthy at this point in the season is a big bonus for sure. But we're going to roll the ball out, and it's going to be, 60 minutes of, both teams laying it all on the line to try to be NFC North champs.
Kevin, what has Jordan Addison's footwork done for him as a receiver to help him beat coverage throughout the season?
Yeah, I think, it's his route running ability was what jumped off the tape from college, both at Pitt and at SC, in totally different offenses, doing totally different things in a lot of ways. But I think you pair his detail and what Keenan has kind of equipped him with in our system, and really the versatility, because Jordan's really the number one guy. Jordan and Speedy, on those known passing downs when we're moving Justin all over the formation. Those guys have to be able to play a lot of different spots. I mean, you look at Jordan, he ran a lot of routes off motion last night. He was in bunches, he was in stacks, he was, physical in the run game. He was, there was so much to really like that went beyond the box score, and I'm sure he's, still upset about the first deep ball that he, thought he should have finished. That was a tough play and a well-defended play by Nixon on that one. But I just think it's a combination of that, Ben, and then he's gotten stronger. He's able to play through contact, and it's a physical game, not just route running, just his role in the run game and his willingness to do that part of the job has been critical. And he's, I'm not sure what he's up to as far as scoring touchdowns. I think he's got 10 total now. But, finishing plays in the red zone, he's had some unbelievable catches laying out for a few. I mean, even last night, he had to go and get that ball, a really well thrown ball, but kind of a unique play there where he's stopping and then restarting again. Just all what makes him so special, he puts on display, and I've said this before. It was I commend him for really playing through the early part of the season, even though he wasn't at 100%. And now that he is, you can see his impact.
Kevin, did you know he had the aptitude to be able to apply some of the motion stuff that he applied yesterday?
Yeah, I think getting to know him through the process, he seemed like a very football smart guy, and spent a lot of time with him on his visit when he came here before the draft, and just watching tape. Hey, what'd you call this? How were you taught to run this? How would you run this differently if you could do it again? And just some of that dialogue was, I remember being pretty blown away by where he was at. And then, anytime I'm installing a play, and I'm going down the road of, probably like you guys can imagine, overcooking it a little bit, I always look up and see him. He's got a pen, he's writing it down, he's drawing it up, he's asking Keenan questions. Justin's right there, and there's constant dialogue there. So I wouldn't discount just Jordan, but also being, next to Justin and Keenan every single day. He's constantly improved, and he was pretty darn talented when he arrived here. So very fortunate to have him.
On the touchdown with the sort of hook and then where you turn it up, I'm guessing there's maybe only a select percentage of receivers who could make that work. How much other stuff needed to go into that touchdown?
Yeah, that was a unique one. We actually kind of tweaked that play on Saturday. Just one of the last things I do. I get a chance to meet with the defense a little bit and flow on Saturdays, and then I get kind of a last minute meeting with the skill guys and the quarterbacks, and I made kind of a change to it that probably just helped the timing out a little bit to get that ball off, because I thought Sam stepped up really well, but he was, I think it might have been Cooper that came on a pressure all the way around the edge, and probably we don't get it off. And for him to just be able to take the verbal cues of that adjustment, really not get a chance to practice it again, and then do it in a pretty big spot there, is kind of goes with Alex's question. Just his ability to take some of those things and make it come to life is incredibly impactful.
Kevin, you mentioned the moment in the locker room yesterday with Sam.
Yeah.
Camera caught you kind of looking on.
Yeah, I tried to stand all the way up against the wall, but they still got me.
What's it like for you to watch kind of that scene unfold?
Yeah, it's obviously for Sam. We've talked a lot about just this year and from day one till now, and that moment, and just the countless times he's gone out there and played really well, played winning football. But also for our team, I think that moment was a super organic way. Sometimes this thing goes so fast, and you're, so caught up in the 1-0 aspects of things, and the day-to-day and the minute-to-minute, and this play and this adjustment and this coverage. For me, sometimes, I don't really feel a lot of those things until a moment like that, and I just so many different guys and the excitement level on their faces, and it meant a lot to us to play well at home this year, to win them all, but won by 2 points, and just the environment and the atmosphere, and I think the young folks call it the vibe. It's everything you work towards with a goal in mind of a lot of little things, a million little things that you think about. kind of coming together in that moment. I was just proud of the guys, and of course for Sam, I thought it was awesome.
Kevin, Sam had a lot of clean pockets yesterday. I guess how do you describe the job that Chris Cooper has done with the offensive line, especially having to bring a new left tackle into the mix midway through the season?
Yeah, it probably hasn't been talked about enough. That was one thing that jumped out watching the tape last night. And then with the staff this morning I thought the protection was phenomenal against a really good active front, both the interior and those guys on the edges. Once again, B.O. was phenomenal on the right side. And I thought the interior, really with the challenge that it was, those guys really stepped up. There were some big time moments where we stayed on the field via some conversions where Sam had to hold the ball to get from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, maybe back to 3, hitting TJ over the middle on one of those conversions. I just think they were phenomenal. And I do think that's why even on a night where maybe our yards per carry wasn't huge, wasn't a big number, just the attempts and kind of being able to stay balanced enough that it wasn't just a pure chuck it, 60 times kind of game. And there's going to be some games like that with how, you match up and things like that, but to still be able to stay balanced enough, I thought was critical. And then those guys, really being pretty darn good on those weighty downs and those, plays where we had to block them. And, we were close even, maybe, the ball that got tipped that got ruled an incompletion. I mean, that's a millisecond away from probably being a 40 or 50-yard gain that maybe, puts that one away in that moment. But that kind of goes with the philosophy of staying aggressive, with how the momentum had kind of swung a little bit, which is going to happen. I would love to be able to say we're going to get leads and just keep building them, but these are really good teams we're playing, and they're going to make some plays. And I just thought the response of our team to ultimately not allow them to come back on the field was, critical.
Kevin, do you anticipate putting Daniel Jones on the active roster for the compensatory pick for him?
Yeah, we're gonna have some dialogue about that as far as the timing of it. Daniel's been quietly behind the scenes putting in some phenomenal work, and probably more excited, as I told him the other day, more excited now than even as excited as I was to get him in here day one, just by what he's shown us already. And so that's definitely, Kevin, something we're gonna talk about. I feel so fortunate to have with JJ really back full speed in those meetings. I mean, you walk in there, you got 5 NFL quarterbacks sitting there, and and Josh, sometimes if I blink and look at him, you can probably say 6. I'm not going to give Grant that kind of love, but I'm sure Josh can still sling it.
And if that happened, just to be totally clear, would that affect, in terms of depth chart?
All stuff to be talked about. We really have not, as coaches, we've not really discussed that other than making sure we got guys ready to roll, while also Daniel being on his kind of own individual plan.
Josh McTellis was talking about how one of the things that bonds him with Sam is the fact that Sam has gone through a lot of hurdles, but on defense, sometimes the defense guys don't see themselves in the quarterback, but he said a lot of us have had to overcome hurdles, and we see that in Sam, and so the defense has a bond with him that way. Have you seen that on many other teams, and what do you like about that? It's kind of a different way of bonding with your quarterback.
Yeah, I haven't really thought about it much, to be honest with you, but now that you mention it, I think that's probably a real thing. We have so many unique stories. I went through some of them with our team on Saturday night, just kind of making sure those guys knew, exactly kind of the headspace I wanted them in for Sunday, and part of that was referencing not only Sam's journey, but some of our other guys, and maybe you don't hear about them as much, but they've been so impactful to our team and how it's been built and the makeup of our team. So I think that's valid, and I think it's a big part of why Sam's been able to have total and complete trust from our team. Is they see him work, they see how he operates. It's the Mondays and the Tuesdays and late on a Friday, and then he goes and plays well, and he does it again and again and again. So I think that's real.
Kevin, how much appreciation do you have for the uniqueness of Sunday? I mean, potentially 2 14-win teams.
Yeah.
So much on the line.
Yeah, we knew. I mean, we've been, in the back of our minds, we knew we had to win a lot of football games to keep pace with a team that really has been, if not the best, one of the top 2 teams in the league for most of the year. And, we have so much respect for this team, and we know we're going to have to play one of our best games of the year to go win it. And it was just an incredibly, competitive game yesterday, and we know exactly what we're signing up for this week to go try to get it done. So it is unique. I'm not sure how unique as far as the historical precedent. I just know they're a damn good team. We're going to have to play really well to go win.
How do you go about talking to players with this one so that they don't make it into something that becomes too big of a thing? Make it kind of...
Yeah, no matter what, we've punched our ticket into the dance, and you don't want this to. It's critical. We want to win the division. That's something that hopefully every team has that mindset going into the season, and now here we are with a chance to do it. So I don't want to undersell it, but at the same time, this is just a football game this week, and we're going to throw everything we got at it and play 60 minutes and maybe then some to go try to win the division. But at the same time, there's still, the tournament that we're all in this for following right after. So I think it's a great question, and it's definitely something that I'm thinking about from a standpoint of how to mentally prepare our team and physically prepare our team because the season does not end Sunday regardless of the outcome.
Some of the players have mentioned that random people have come up to them and mentioned like the 1-0 this week thing, like in public.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had any experience outside the
I have. Yeah, I have, and it's kind of cool. People. It's not a bad strategy. I know you guys fight me on this week in and week out, but I would highly suggest it. I would highly encourage it, Kevin.
People are coming up to you with all the things they could say in the world. And they come up to the head coach of an NFL team and they're saying, "1-0."
Thank you, Lindsay. I'd rather not get into the details of it, but it's much more than a cliche to this team this year in this point in time.
Last couple.
PJ Fleck has been embracing that for a long time. How did you make it different to make it resonate with your guys when it's something that's been around for a long time?
I think the consistency of it probably is what our players would tell you is just a little bit different. It hasn't just been 1-0 on a Sunday. It's been back before that, training camp. Sometimes it was against each other, and they probably looked at me funny when I said everybody in here has got to go 1-0 today, and the offense and defensive players are looking at each other like something's got to give today. Back in early August or whenever it was, but it's just been a mindset of just trying to keep laser focus and maximize what we are as a team, because I think that we're the type of team that if we did that, I think that over the long stretch of how much of a grind this season is, I think a lot of little victories can equal one for the week, and then you move on to the next one and you try to see how many of those you can get again. And it's pretty simple.
You joked a few weeks ago that like you've gotten eye rolls about you said it so much. Like, is there a moment that you felt like they're all totally bought into this mentality?
I can't really pinpoint a moment. I might have caught myself rolling my eyes at myself at one point. But yeah, it's just you get into. I actually went through a bunch of. The sayings that I've had, or the things that, and really I do put a lot of thought and time and energy into, messaging and how it's going to piece all together. And but I think there was quite a few that I had to rattle off on Saturday night. Kind of bringing it all together full circle for our guys to hopefully be locked and loaded to get a win. So they did.
You mentioned you started out at the beginning talking about thanking the fans and everything that goes into those games. Do you have a favorite moment from this season at US Bank Stadium, or maybe just a favorite thing about that place on game day that resonates with you specifically?
Yeah, I think one of them for sure was Chris Carter and Jake Reed at the coin toss. I think, obviously the Skol chant every week. I love the one at the beginning of the game, but it's the one in crunch time that you always feel in those moments. I don't know if I'll ever forget the noise that happened on the 97-yard touchdown to Justin against the Niners. Yeah, there's a few. I can tell you, I'm still getting used to the lights being turned out. You know, when they turn them out right in the third, fourth quarter, whenever that is, I'm normally looking at my call sheet, and then the lights go out and I can't see anything. But it's all part of the effect in the moment, which I'm a big fan of, because I do think you can't discount we have some super talented folks that part of our game day staff that put on what I think is I've been to just about every one of these places now, and I don't know if I've seen one as special as what gets put together during that 3.5 hour plus, really. So compliments to all of our folks, but our fans are what ultimately do it. The energy, the juice that they bring every single week. I think they've kind of fallen in love with this year's team, you know, for a lot of reasons, and it's an easy team to fall in love with because of the stories we've mentioned, the connection that they have. I hope they see it and feel it, because we certainly feel what's coming from them, and it's been incredibly positive.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.